Shakespeare's religious affiliations, if any, might have been.
Yeah.
And I wondered if the experience of researching and writing this book gave you any thoughts or insights onto the nature, first, of Shakespeare's religious affiliations, and secondly, what kind of influence this climate of fear might have had on the phenomenon of the English literary golden age at the late Tudor and early Jacobean period.
Wow, okay. Well, Shakespeare's faith, first of all, I think, first off, I don't think you should ever look for biography in his works, because you could argue either way. I mean, you really can. He's sort of, in Macbeth, he's very much, you know, there's the porter asked the farmer. Farmer was one of the code names for Henry Garnet, the Jesuit executed in the Gunpowder Plot. It says, faith is an equivocator who could weigh in both the scales against either scale, who could commit treason enough for God's sake, but could not equivocate to heaven. So that's very unsympathetic. And then you have other things, maybe in Lear, with Edgar, when he's possessed by, you know, when he calls himself Poor Tom, and he's possessed, and he is possessed by demons and flibberty-gibbets, and that is very much his drawing on the exorcisms. And yet there's a debate about this, as there always is with Shakespeare, but the sense that maybe Edgar is like the persecuted Catholic priests, and he has to assume an alter ego and pretend to be possessed in order to escape the persecuting state. So, you know, you can read Shakespeare a million different ways, and of course, you know, in his poetry as well, the bare-ruined choirs where late the sweet bird sang could be about William Byrd, or it could not be. So Shakespeare, I don't touch. On the other hand, his father, John Shakespeare, was a recusant. It's in there in the Warwickshire recusant rules, and he said he didn't go to church because he was in debt. And that's a common excuse at the time, because you can't take communion if you're out of charity with your neighbors, if you're in debt with your neighbors. So again, you know, he was probably a Catholic recusant, but we can't, you know, and there's also a testament of his that was found in a house, I mean, remarkably, that sort of suggests that he was indeed, you know, very much a Catholic recusant. And by the way, that's one of the most exciting things about this, is the discovery. Not mine, sort of the most exciting one was in 1828, builders knocking through a wall in Rushton Hall in Northamptonshire, and a book comes down. So they knock through a bit more, and then they find all these papers, the papers of Thomas Tresham. And again, you priest holes. There was a swinging beam hide at Harvington Hall that was only discovered in 1894 by a little boy exploring what was then a derelict wing.
So there might be more.
So there might be more.
Waiting to be found.
It's still happening. I was really hoping when the book came out that there might be a discovery. That'd be good publicity. But in terms of literature as a whole, I mean, I think it was one of the very interesting things is sort of the propaganda on both sides, and who wins, in a way. And I think the Catholics are winning, and you have people like Robert Southwell, the poet, who writes beautiful, and Henry Walpole as well. Why do I use my paper, ink and pen? You know, they write these incredible poems. Chidiock Titchbourne as well, just on the eve of being executed for the Babington plot.
And young Vaux as well.
Yes, Henry Vaux as well, indeed, and many others, and Ben Jonson, of course, as going forward. I think sort of persecution literature is always better than triumphalism literature, in a way.
Well, and that's an emphatically pen note on which to end. Thank you very much, Jessie. It's a great book. Do read it.
Thank you.